Continuing Tahlim, the book of Psalms. Let's finish number 6 here. For God as noun and verb hath heard the voice of my weeping. God as noun and verb hath heard my supplication. God as noun and verb will receive my prayer. Let all mine enemies be ashamed and sore vexed. Let them return and be ashamed suddenly. Psalm 8. Okay, is there the pentagrammaton with the tetragrammaton here somewhere? Or is it just God is a noun and verb, or God is a noun and verb? I'll think that maybe it says God is noun and verb, leader of the leader of our community. How excellent is thy name in all the earth, who has set thy glory above the heavens. Out of the mouth of babes and sucklings hast thou ordained strength because of thine enemies, that thou mightest still the enemy and the avenger. When I consider thy heavens at the work of thy fingers, the moon and the stars, which thou hast ordained, what is man that thou art mindful of him? And the Son of Man, that thou visitest him. For thou hast made him a little lower than angels, and hast crowned him with glory and honor. Thou madest him to have dominion over the works of thy hand. Thou hast put all things under his feet, all sheep and oxen, yea, all the beasts of the field, the fowls of the air, and the fish of the sea, and whatsoever passeth through the paths of the sea. God is noun and verb, our God, how excellent is thy name in all the earth. I will praise thee. Psalm 9. I will praise thee, God is noun and verb, with my whole heart. I will show forth all thy marvelous works. I will be glad and rejoice in thee. I will sing praise to thy name, O thou most high. When mine enemies are turned back, they shall fall and perish at thy presence. For thou hast maintained my right and my cause. Thou sattest in the throne, judging right. Thou hast rebuked those who turned their backs. Thou hast destroyed the wicked. Thou hast put out their name forever and ever. O thou enemy, destructions are come to a perpetual end, and thou hast destroyed cities. The memorial is perished with them, but God is noun and verb shall endure forever. He hath prepared his throne for judgment, and he shall judge the world in righteousness. He shall minister judgment to the people in uprightness. God is noun and verb will be a refuge for the oppressed, a refuge in times of trouble, and they that know thy name will put thy trust in thee. For thou, God is noun and verb, hast not forsaken them that seek thee. Seek praises to God as noun and verb, which dwelleth in Zion. Declare among the people his doings. When he maketh inquisition for blood, he remembereth them. He forgetteth not the cry of the humble. Have mercy upon me, God is noun and verb. Consider my trouble which I suffer of them that hate me. Thou hast lifted me up from the gates of death, that I may show forth all thy praise in the gates of the daughters of Zion. I will rejoice in thy salvation. Those who turn their back are sucking down into the pit that they made. In the net which they hid is their own foot taken. God as noun and verb is known by the judgment which he executeth. The wicked is snared in the work of his own hands. The wicked shall be turned into hell, and all the nations that forget God. For the needy shall not always be forgotten. The expectation of the poor shall not perish forever. Arise, God is noun and verb. Let not man prevail. Let those who turn their back be judged in thy sight. Put in them fear, God is noun and verb, that the nations may know themselves to be but men. Psalm 14. The fool has said in his heart, there is no God. They are corrupt. They have done abominable works. There is none that doeth good. God as noun and verb looked down from the heavens upon the children of men to see if there were any that did understand and seek God. They are all gone aside. They are altogether become filthy. There is none that doeth good, no, not one. Have all the workers of iniquity no knowledge, who eat up my people as they eat bread, and call not upon God as noun and verb? There were they in great fear, for God is noun and verb, is in the generation of the righteous. Ye have shamed the counsel of the poor, because God is noun and verb, is his refuge. Oh, that the salvation of Yisrael were come out of Zion, when God is noun and verb bringeth back the captivity of his people. Jacob shall rejoice, and Yisrael shall be glad. Psalm 15. God is a noun and verb, he shall abide in thy tabernacle, who shall dwell in thy holy hill, he that walketh uprightly and worketh righteousness, and speaketh the truth in his heart, he that backbiteth not with his tongue, nor doeth evil to his neighbor, nor taketh up a reproach against his neighbor, in whose eyes a vile person is contemned, but he honoreth them, for that fear God is noun and verb. He honoreth them that fear God is noun and verb. He that sweareth to his own heart and changeth not, he that putteth not out his money to usury, nor taketh reward against the innocent, he that doeth these things shall never be moved. Psalm 16. Well, we got to change our own spiritual conditions. We can't expect God to. We put ourselves in a position, and we can't expect God to say, "Oh, this person was wicked, but I'm going to make them righteous," even though they don't want to be righteous. Maybe give people opportunity to become righteous, but God's not forcing us. Psalm 16. Preserve me, O God, for in thee, are they using Elohim here? For in thee do I put my trust. O my soul, thou hast said unto God as noun and verb, thou art the leader of my community, is because sometimes they say Adoni. My goodness extendeth not to thee, but to the saints that are in the earth, and to the excellent, in whom is all my delight. Their sorrows shall be multiplied, that hasten after another as if they're God. Their drink offerings of blood will I not offer, nor take up their names into my lips. God is noun and verb, is the portion of mine inheritance and of my cup. Thou maintainest my lot, the lines are fallen unto me in pleasant places. Yea, I have a goodly heritage. I will bless the Lord. I will bless God as noun and verb, who hath given me counsel. My reins are instructed in the night seasons. I have set God as noun and verb always before me. Because he is at my right hand, I shall not be moved. Therefore my heart is glad, my glory rejoiceth. My flesh also shall rest in hope. For thou wilt not leave my soul in hell, neither wilt thou suffer thine Holy One to see corruption. Thou wilt show me the path of life. In thy presence is fullness of joy. At thy right hand there are pleasures forevermore. And one of the things that we see implied in there is the idea that the living are in a different dimension or something than the dead. Because obviously we bury the bodies of the dead on the earth, but so then pretty much everything, because if they didn't go to a different thing, well, then there wouldn't be a distinction between in earth and what, right? Psalm 19. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. Day unto day uttereth speech, and night unto night showeth knowledge. There is no speech nor language where their voice is not heard. Their line is gone out through all the earth, and their words to the end of the world. In them hath he set a tabernacle for the sun, which is a bridegroom coming out of his chamber, and rejoiceth as a strong man to run a race. His going forth is from the end of the heaven, and his circuit unto the ends of it, and there is nothing hid from the heat thereof. The law of God as a noun and verb is perfect, converting the soil. The testimony of God as a noun and verb is sure, making wise the simple. The statutes of God as a noun and verb are right, rejoicing the heart. The commandment of God as a noun and verb is pure, enlightening the eyes. The fear of God as noun and verb is clean, enduring forever. The judgments of God as noun and verb are true and righteous altogether. More to be desired are they than gold, yea, than much fine gold, sweeter also than honey and the honeycomb. Moreover, by them is thy servant warned. In keeping of them there is great reward. Who can understand his errors? Cleanse thou me from secret faults. Keep back thy servant also from the presumptuous sins. Let them not have dominion over me, then shall I be upright, and I shall be innocent from the great transgression. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight. God as a noun and verb, my strength and my redeemer. Psalm 20. God as a noun and verb, hear thee in the day of trouble. The name of God is the name of God, the God of Jacob, defend thee. Send thee help from the sanctuary, and strengthen thee out of tune. Remember all thy offerings, and accept thy burnt sacrifice. Grant thee according to thine own heart, and fulfill all thy counsel. We will rejoice in thy salvation, and in the name of God we will set up our banners. God is noun and verb, fulfill all thy petitions. Now know I that God is noun and verb, saveth his anointed. All these anointed are Messiah. The Bible has a lot of messiahs, as you can tell, and implies far more than they list. He will hear him from his holy heaven with the strong saving of his right hand. Some trust in chariots, some in horses, but we will remember the name of God as noun and verb, our God. They are brought down and fallen, but we are risen and stand upright. Save God as noun and verb. Let the King hear us when we call. Save as an accept. Oh, well, they're calling on God to save them. Messed up with my comment for a second. Well, save in some instances is accept, but in this case, okay, yeah, I misworded. Psalm 21. The king shall joy in thy strength, O God, as noun and verb. In thy salvation how greatly shall he rejoice. Thou hast given him his heart's desire, and hast not withheld the request of his lips. For thou preventest him with the blessings of goodness. Thou settest a crown of pure gold on his head. He asked life of thee, and thou gavest it him, even the length of days forever and ever. His glory is great in thy salvation. Honor and majesty hast thou laid upon him, for thou hast made him most blessed forever. Thou hast made him exceedingly glad with thy countenance. For the king trusteth in God as a noun and verb, and through the mercy of the Most High he shall not be moved. Thine hand shall find out all thine enemies. Thy right hand shall find out those that hate thee. Thou shalt make them as a fiery oven in the time of thine anger. God as noun and verb shall swallow them up in his wrath, and the fire shall devour them. Their fruit shalt thou destroy from the earth, and their seed from among the children of men, for they intended evil against thee. They imagined a mischievous device, which they are not able to perform. Therefore shalt thou make them turn their back, when thou shalt make ready thine arrows upon thy strings against the face of them. Be thou exalted, God as noun and verb, in thine own strength. So will we sing and praise thy power. Psalm 22. My God, why hast thou forsaken me? You're going to recognize that from what they call the New Testament. Why art thou so far from helping me, and from the words of my roaring? Maybe this is their, to hear the, this and some of the other to hear the response, because this sounds like something that not even a believer would say, let alone a prophet. O my God, I cry in the daytime, but thou hearest not, and in the night season, and am not silent, but thou art holy. O thou that inhabitest the praises of Yisrael, our fathers trusted in thee. They trusted, and thou didst deliver them. They cried unto thee, and were delivered. They trusted in thee, and were not confounded. But I am a worm and no man, a reproach of men, a despise of the people. All they that see me laugh me to scorn. They shoot out the lip, they shake the head, saying, He trusted on God as noun and verb, that he would deliver him. Let him deliver him, seeing he delighted in him. But thou art he that took me out of the womb. Thou didst make me hope when I was upon my mother's breasts. I was cast upon thee from the womb. Thou art my God from my mother's belly. Be not far from me, for trouble is near, for there is none to help me. Many bulls have compassed me. Strong bulls of Bashan have beset me round. They gaped upon me with their mouths as a ravening and a roaring lion. I am poured out like water, and all my bones are out of joint. My heart is like wax. It is melted in the midst of my bowels. My strength is dried up like a potsherd, and my tongue cleaveth to my jaws. And thou hast brought me into the dust of death. For dogs have compassed me. The assembly of the wicked have enclosed me. They pierced my hands and my feet. I may tell all my bones. They look and stare upon me. They part my garments upon them, and cast lots upon my vesture. Be not thou far from me. God is noun and verb. O my deliver, O my strength, hasten thee to help me. Deliver my soul from the sword, my darling from the power of the dog. Save me from the lion's mouth, for thou hast heard me from the horns of the unicorns. Now, in like the Goetia program number 40, I lay out the unicorn verses in the Bible, don't I? And talk about, the class of demons is called unicorns. I will declare thy name unto my brethren. In the midst of the congregation will I praise thee. Ye that fear God is noun and verb, praise him. And all ye the seed of Jacob glorify him, and fear him, all ye the seed of Yisrael, for he hath not despised nor abhorred the affliction of the afflicted, neither hath he hid his face from him, but when he cried unto him, he heard. My praise shall be of thee in the congregation. I will pay my vows before them that fear him. The meek shall eat and be satisfied. They shall praise God as noun and verb that seek him. Your heart shall live forever. All the ends of the world shall remember and turn unto God as noun and verb. Now that being judged on your eternal heart kind of sounds like an ancient Egyptian way of saying it, right? And all the kindreds of the nations shall worship before thee. For the kingdom is God as noun and verbs, and he is the governor among the nations. All they that be fat upon the earth shall eat and worship, and they that go down to the dust shall bow before him, and none can keep alive his own soul. A seed shall serve him, it shall be accounted to God as noun and verb for a generation. They shall come, and they shall declare his righteousness unto a people that shall be born, that he hath done this. And the fearsomeness of dogs and even lions being grouped in with whole unicorn things like that, those cute horse things. So, that's not what they're talking about if you've ever seen a unicorn. It's not some cute horse thing. It's a spiritual thing. So the domestic and the wild and the spiritual beasts basically is the point. Psalm 23. God is noun and verb, is my shepherd. I shouldn't be needy. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of God as noun and verb forever. And there's other insight, I guess, linguistically that I could tie to that, clarifying it to further degrees. But sounds now, by magician, I don't mean the evil magician necessarily making deals with spirit, with demons and all that sort of stuff, whether they know they're demons or not. I mean, some people certainly in their spells, they're basically worshiping whatever entity is going to come and help with their operation. They're doing whatever, are worshiping the salt and the blades and all that stuff themselves. But it's like the magician on the tarot card. The suits are represented. The consciousness of the on one hand, you could say the court card. You could say the the court cards and the aces. On the other hand, you can say the you could say the trumps. So all the states and stations and categories of life can kind of be represented by that psalm. Psalm 24. The earth is God is noun in verbs, and the fullness thereof, the world, and they that dwell therein, for he hath founded it upon the seas, and established it upon the floods. Who shall ascend into the hill of God is noun and verb, or who shall stand in his holy place? He that hath clean hands and a pure heart, who hath not lifted up his soul unto vanity, nor sworn deceitfully, he shall receive the blessing from God as noun and verb, and righteousness from the God of his salvation. And this is the generation of them that seek him, that seek thy face, O Yaqub. Lift up your heads, O ye gates, and be lift up, ye everlasting doors, that the King of glory shall come in. Who is this King of glory? God is noun and verb, strong and mighty. God is noun and verb, mighty in battle. Lift up your heads, O ye gates, even lift them up, ye everlasting doors, and the King of glory shall come in. Who is this King of glory? God is noun and verb of hosts. He is the King of glory. And well, if God's omnipresent, we're not really refuting this in this case, but we're, accepting the manifestation within us. Being as a nexion. Psalm 27. God is noun and verb, is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? God is noun and verb, is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? When the wicked, even mine enemies and my foes, came upon me to eat up my flesh, they stumbled and fell. Though a host should encamp against me, my heart shall not fear. Though war should rise against me, in this will I be confident. One thing have I desired of God as noun and verb, that will I seek after, that I may dwell in the house of God as noun and verb all the days of my life, to behold the beauty of God as noun and verb, and to inquire in his temple. For in the time of trouble he shall hide me in his pavilion. In the secret of his tabernacle shall he hide me. He shall set me up upon a rock, and now shall mine head be lifted up above mine enemies round about me. Therefore will I offer in his tabernacle sacrifices of joy. I will sing, yea, I will sing praises unto God as noun and verb. Hear, O God, as noun and verb, when I cry with my voice. Have mercy also upon me, and seek me when thou saidst, seek ye my face. My heart said unto thee, thy face, God is noun and verb, will I seek. Hide not thy face far from me. Put not thy servant away in anger. Thou hast been my help. Leave me not, neither forsake me. God is noun and verb of my salvation. When my father and my mother forsake me, then God is noun and verb will take me up. Teach me thy way, God is noun and verb, and lead me in a plain path because of mine enemies. Deliver me not over unto the will of mine enemies. For false witnesses are risen up against me, and such as breathe out cruelty. I had fainted unless I had believed to see the goodness of God as noun and verb in the land of the living. Wait on God as noun and verb. Be of good courage, and he shall strengthen thine heart. Wait, I say, on God as noun and verb. So if you're thinking God's going to forsake you, well, true God's going to keep his promise, right? But, don't let your perception slip away from, final results or something being possible beyond your awareness. Psalm 29. Give unto God as noun and verb, O ye mighty, give unto God as noun and verb, glory and strength. Give unto God as noun and verb, the glory due unto his name. Worship God as noun and verb in the beauty of holiness. The voice of God as noun and verb is upon the waters. The God of glory thundereth. God as noun and verb is upon many waters. The voice of God as noun and verb is powerful. The voice of God as noun and verb is full of majesty. The voice of God as noun and verb breaketh the cedars. Yea, God as noun and verb breaketh the cedars of Lebanon. He maketh them also to skip like a calf. Lebanon and Sirion, like a young unicorn. The voice of God as noun and verb divideth the flames of fire. The voice of God as noun and verb shaketh the wilderness. God as noun and verb shaketh the wilderness of Kadesh. The voice of God as a noun and verb maketh the hens to calf, and discovereth the forest. And in his temple doth every one speak of his glory. God as noun and verb sitteth upon the flood. Yea, God as noun and verb sitteth king forever. God as noun and verb will give strength unto his people. God as noun and verb will bless his people with peace. Psalm 30. I will extol thee, God as noun and verb, for thou hast lifted me up, and hast not made my foes to rejoice over me. God as noun and verb, my God. So, Yahweh, Alhi. Is that the phrasing? I cried unto thee, and thou hast healed me. God as noun and verb, thou hast brought up my soul from the grave. Thou hast kept me alive, and I should not go down to the pit. Sing unto God as noun and verb, O ye saints of him, and give thanks at the remembrance of his holiness, for his anger endureth but a moment, and his favor is life. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. And in my prosperity I said, I shall never be moved. God as noun and verb, by thy favor thou hast made my mountain to stand strong. Thou didst hide thy face, and I was troubled. I cried to thee, O God as noun and verb, and unto God as noun and verb I made supplication. What profit is there in my blood when I go down to the pit? Shall the dust praise thee? Shall it declare thy truth? Hear, God as noun and verb, and have mercy upon me. God as noun and verb, be my helper. Thou hast turned for me my mourning into dancing. Thou hast put off my sackcloth and girded me with gladness, to the end that my glory may sing praise to thee and be not silent. God as noun and verb, my God, I will give thanks unto thee forever. Psalm 37. Fret not thyself because of the evildoers, neither be thou envious against the workers of iniquity, for they shall soon be cut down like the grass and wither as the green herb. Trust in God as a noun and verb, and do good. So shalt thou dwell in the land, and verily thou shalt be fed. Delight thyself also in God as a noun and verb, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart. Commit thy ways unto God as a noun and verb. Trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass. And he shall bring forth thy righteousness as the light, and thy judgment as the noonday. Rest in God as a noun and verb, and wait patiently for him. Fret not thyself because of him who prospereth in his way, because of the man who bringeth wicked devices to pass. Cease from anger and forsake wrath. Fret not thyself in any wise to do evil, for the evildoer shall be cut off. But those that wait upon God as a noun and verb, they shall inherit the earth. 4. Yet a little while, and the wicked shall not be. Yea, thou shalt diligently consider his place, and it shall not be. But the meek shall inherit the earth, and shall delight in themselves in the abundance of peace. The wicked plotteth against the just, and gnasheth upon him with his teeth. God as noun and verb shall laugh at him, for he seeth that his day is coming. The wicked have drawn out the sword, and have bent their bow, to cast down the poor and needy, and to slay such as be of upright conservation. Their sword shall enter into their own heart, and their bow shall be broken. A little that a righteous man hath is better than the riches of many wicked, for the arms of the wicked shall be broken, but but God as a noun and verb, upholdeth the righteous. God as noun and verb knoweth the days of the upright, and their inheritance shall be forever. They shall not be ashamed in the evil time, and the days of famine they shall be satisfied, but the wicked shall perish. And the enemies of God as a noun and verb shall be as the fat of lambs. They shall consume into smoke. They shall consume away. The wicked borroweth and payeth not again. But the righteous shall show mercy and giveth, for such as be blessed of him shall inherit the earth. And they that are cursed of him shall be cut off. The steps of a good man are ordered by God as a noun and verb. They're submitting to the way of God, and therefore their steps are part of that. And he delighteth in his way, though he fall, he shall not be utterly cast down, for God is a noun and verb, upholdeth him with his hand. I have been young, and now am old, yet I have not seen the righteous forsaken. Yeah, the idea of being forsaken by God is just, it's a perception. And some of it's because people don't earn the response that they want.